Here's how I make my own dirt for the garden so I don't have to rely on big box stores. This stuff is way better than pre-mixed potting soil, and you know exactly what's in it, so you know exactly what's in your food. All you're gonna need is a bag of worm cast. You could use compost or manure, sphagnum peat moss, and pumice. Don't use perlite, it needs to be pumice, and I'll explain why in a bit. I've just got a 5-gallon pot today because I'm just gonna make a small amount. The ratio is 1 to 1 to 1 for each part. So if you wanna make a big amount or a small amount, it's really easy to measure. I'm just gonna use this 1-gallon pot today. 1 part compost or worm cast. I prefer worm cast, it's higher quality. So the sphagnum, when you get it, it comes in just like a compacted block like this, so it's easier for shipping. So all you need to do is just kind of like crush it up a little bit. It's okay if there's some bigger chunks in there. I actually prefer a little bit of texture to it. This stuff is really powdery too, so try your best not to breathe it in. So why I like pumice and not perlite is just pumice, but they cook it in an oven so it expands a lot, and that makes it really light, which is cheaper to ship. The problem is when you water, because they're so light, they float to the top of the mix over time. And a lot of my stuff, like fruit trees, is gonna be in their pot for a couple years. Since pumice is heavier, it'll actually stay in your mix and provide that aeration you need. I don't quite do a full one on this, more of like a 3/4. So if you live in a really wet climate, you may want to use more of the pumice so there's more drainage and more oxygen that can get to your roots. And if you live in a really, really dry environment, I would use less so your potting mix can hold more water. So while the rough ratio is 1 to 1 to 1, you can adjust it based on your climate. So as you can tell, there's a lot of those little pumice stones in there, so I could have done a little bit less maybe. Add a little bit more sphagnum. So even though this dirt does have a little worm cast, which has a little bit of nutrients, it's essentially inert. So one thing I like to do is add a little bit of fertilizer that has some microbes in it. One thing I am gonna add is soil spark. A little bit of this stuff goes a long way. And there's the perfect potting soil, no need to rely on big box stores.